Good morning. My name is Meg Herman. My pronouns are she, her, and I have the joy of serving on your Board of Trustees. It is my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. If you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you better. We'll invite everyone present in the sanctuary today to join in our personal community time immediately following the service. Unity Temple's mission is to embody our core values of connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. We do this in our daily lives by welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. Welcoming all means we work together to foster a culture of radical hospitality. We strive to build relationships with people across boundaries of race, class, and other identities that divide us. If you're interested in getting involved in Unity Temple, many varied opportunities are for you. Check out our engagement fair today in Unity House after the service. Representatives from our groups and activities will be at tables to share about how to get involved. Our LGBTQ+ gender reproductive justice group is co-sponsoring a blood drive next Saturday at the community center. I'm going. I hope to see you there. See the e-beacon or the display at Unity House to sign up. They're in particular need of O+ blood. That's me. So we are so glad that you will join us today. I invite you, those of you here in person, to take a moment to greet each other.
I'm Reverend Emily Gage. My pronouns are she and her. Our chalice lighter this morning is Barbara. Barbara is teaching 4th and 5th grade religious education this year, and she is always recruiting for the Prison Pen Pal program. Please join with me in the words of our chalice lighting. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other.
morning. Good morning. Are you live out there? My name is Diana Coates, and my pronouns are she and her. Roger asked me to share a time in my life that was filled with growth. I remember about 20 years ago, two major life events happened simultaneously that would forever change my life. It was the sudden death of my mother and my marriage. My marriage was facing a painful divorce. My grief was overwhelming, and my soul was calling out for direction. For years, I wanted to get a master's in social work, but as sometimes it turns out, while attending social work classes, my intuition shouted that this was not the path for me. I needed a more spiritually centered program. After meeting with my advisor, I changed my major and the course of my life. From this one decision, I was more able to grow and heal from my divorce, cope with the loss of my mother, and blossom into living a spiritually based life. I became a minister, hospice chaplain, certified yoga teacher, and shamanic guide. This path has been challenging, fulfilling, and definitely full of growth. I'd like to leave you with this story from Rachel Naomi Raymond. An oyster is soft, tender, vulnerable. Without the sanctuary of its shell, it could not survive. But an oyster must open its shell in order to breathe. Sometimes a grain of sand will enter the shell and become part of its life forever. Such grains of sand cause pain, but an oyster does not alter its soft nature. A pearl might be thought of as an oyster's response to its suffering. Not every oyster can do this, but the ones that can are more valued. Something in us can transform suffering into wisdom. First, we experience everything. Then, one by one, we let go. The anger, the blame, the sense of injustice, and finally, even the pain itself, until all we have left is a deeper sense of the value of life and a greater capacity to live it, and the possibility of becoming a pearl. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life's journey, and wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together. We are now going to sing one of my favorite songs, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And Marty will guide us.
Rise in body or in spirit, join us. We're going to do this in a two-part round, and the choir is going to be among you. Not that you need their support. All together. Bang.
Our
Congregation, the quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in the fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
My name is Jay Cohen. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a member of your spiritual care team. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, and every week in our service, we make time to share the joys and sorrows of our lives. It's one of the many ways we share love with one another. Those attending in person may share a joy or sorrow in the binder outside the sanctuary before the service, or you can always email us at spiritualcare@unitytemple.org. If you would ever like to talk with somebody about something on your heart and be with someone who will sit and listen, please contact us. We're here to sit with you in any time of joy or sorrow. We have one item that was shared this week. Diana Coates mentions the death of a longtime friend, Eleanor Weber, who died peacefully at her home in Elmwood Park. She will be missed by many. We know that many of us are sharing other joys and sorrows in the sanctuary of our hearts. If you would like to honor one of your joys or sorrows, we invite everybody to come and put a rock into one of the bowls of water, and then it will be held in the container of love of this congregation. We will share this spiritual practice in silence, and there are 4 stations around the sanctuary. Let's begin.
These words of prayer are from Susan Sahusky. Let us unite our minds and hearts in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Day by day, month by month, year by year, we are confronted with all that we do not know. that we do not understand, that we do not grasp. Sometimes we are humbled by this knowledge and say, God, it is too wonderful for me to comprehend, but I know this universe is more grand and more beautiful than I ever could have imagined. And I give thanks for the blessing of being here and seeing, hearing, experiencing, and sensing all that is so wonderful around and in me. Sometimes we are saddened by this knowledge and say, oh, merciful Spirit, we need to have the burden of hurt and suffering removed from us. Grant us the courage, the wisdom, and fortitude to bear the pain of living. Send us those who will carry our burdens for a short while, and send us those who will comfort us with their healing words and thoughts. Sometimes we are angered by this knowledge and say, in the name of justice and compassion, if it be in our power, give us the strength and ability to right the wrongs, for we do not, nor does any person in the world deserve this. Sometimes we are made joyous by this knowledge and we say, Spirit of life who blesses our world, we rejoice and cheer for our glorious life. Sometimes we are made curious by this knowledge and say, holy and inexplicable is this life. I have no idea what happened or how it happened, but somehow, some way, something changed, and I am free to explore new ways of being. Please always let me continue to search for the unknown in myself and others. Amen. Blessed be. If you are someone who likes to come close when you're listening to a story, I invite you to come down and sit on the floor near me. I have a book today called I Am Human, a book of empathy by Susan Verde, and the art is by Peter H. Reynolds. Hi, Leo. I was born. A miracle, one of billions, but unique. I'm finding my way and choosing my path on this incredible journey. I have big dreams. I see possibility. I have endless curiosity. I make discoveries. I have a feeling of wonder. I am amazed by nature. I have a playful side. I find joy in friendships. I am human. I can be fearful of things I don't yet understand and timid to try something new. I can move forward. I skipped a page. I have a heavy heart when I feel sadness. I am human. But then I remind myself, because I am human, I can make choices. I can move forward. A poor choice can become a better choice with thoughtfulness. A bad day can become a great day with kindness. I can act with compassion and lend a helping hand. I can treat others with equality and be fair. I can choose not to fight, but instead to listen and find common ground. I can say, "I'm sorry," and ask for forgiveness. I am human, one of billions, but unique. I am not alone. I am connected to my friends, to my family, to the world. We are all human together. And I will keep trying to be the best version of me. I am full of hope. I am human. The end. All right, ready to go to Unity House? Let's.
My name is Dwayne Dowell. My pronouns are he and him. As you know, each week our congregation splits the collection between programs for our church and an organization that aligns with our values. This week, our collection goes to Sacred, Spiritual Alliance of Communities for Reproductive Dignity. A little bit of a mouthful. Sacred, you can read in your fine print in the bulletin, is a national alliance of multiracial, multi-faith, multi-ethnic, multi-gender, and sexual identity religious leaders, congregations, movement organizations, activists, academics, and and directly impacted communities collaborating to advance reproductive justice through congregational education, cultural change, community building, and direct service. Another mouthful. Now, there is an opportunity for us to become a sacred congregation. It is similar to the process for becoming a welcoming congregation, which for LGBTQ plus folks, which we did a number of years ago. The requirement is to offer and complete a 7-session sacred curriculum. That includes a deep dive into the broad implications of reproductive justice, more than a decision of whether or not to have access to an abortion, but the broader look at bodily autonomy, racial and social justice, and the ability to raise children in a safe and welcoming environment. Having done that, it then requires a congregational vote to achieve that designation. This can be renewed every 3 years. So, if you're interested in taking that deep dive and doing the study, join us in the community house after the service and sign up. Thank you.
My reading this morning is When Death Comes by Mary Oliver. And I want to acknowledge that there is some gendered language in this that can, in particular, leave out non-binary people. When death comes like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the measles pox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, this cottage of darkness? And therefore, I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and I look upon time as no more than an idea, and I consider eternity another possibility, and I think of each flower as common as a field daisy and as singular, and each name a comfortable music in the mouth tending as all music does toward silence, and each body a line of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say all my life I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened and full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world. I saw water flowing from the temple from its right side, Alleluia. And all to whom this water came were saved and shall say, Alleluia, Alleluia. Those are the translated words of the piece we just heard from a Gregorian chant. And as I listened to the choir, I pictured in my mind the modest headwaters of the Mississippi River in northern Minnesota. So the headwaters of the Mississippi, this mighty river, starts at the northern edge of a smallish lake, Lake Itasca. As you can see, the beginning of this great river is narrow and shallow. And then here's a photo of the Mississippi just a little bit further downstream. Still, so modest. Humans have long experienced this place of the Mississippi's origin as sacred and powerful, from indigenous people long ago to all the people, me included, who flock there today. This is the origin of some mighty flowing waters, waters that pick up speed and volume and impact as they travel over 2,300 miles to the Gulf of Mexico. The image of flowing waters is a common one in the Hebrew Bible from which the words of that chant came. And in many spiritual traditions, flowing water evokes life, abundance, and blessing. Turns out today's a good day to talk about flowing water, too. What a gift to have some rain. Flowing waters also are a powerful symbol of change and of growth. The ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus noted that this when he famously invited people to think about stepping into the same river 2 different times. The water stepped into the second time is certainly different from the water that was there the first time. What's more, Heraclitus says, the person isn't the same either. We are constantly changing. Modern science has told us that when we step into the same river, even the next day, around 500 million of our skin cells have disappeared in that one day. Even our bodies are constantly changing. And as consciously aware human beings, we can choose our stance toward this most basic of life's realities. Do we strive to embrace change, to accommodate change, to learn from change, or do we resist change? Do we seek to adapt and grow, or do we try to stay the same? This is a spiritual question each one of us should ask every day. And when our stance toward change, is to resist it, our lives can become stagnant. Picture now a stagnant body of water and compare it to a flowing river, even the beginning of the Mississippi. I'm guessing that we've all had moments when our lives have felt stagnant, but it's best not to stay stuck in that. And in truth, it's hard to stay stagnant for too long because life keeps changing, and all of our efforts to keep it from changing are ultimately doomed. A parent dies unexpectedly, or we're facing the end of a marriage, as Diana shared about in her opening words. Or we fall in love, or lose a job, or get a serious illness, or any of the 50 billion, that's an approximation, other possibilities in our lives. The river keeps on flowing, and our bodies and our relationships and everything else changes no matter how much we resist. So we have a daily invitation to grow as human beings from our first breath to our last. Using a central idea from Reverend Emily's sermon a couple weeks ago, we have the opportunity to be lifelong learners. And lifelong learning is an excellent way to accept the invitation to grow and to avoid the pitfalls of stagnation. One of the greatest blessings for me in congregational ministry has been the opportunity to know people who know that their death is approaching. and who take those last days as a final learning opportunity. Like in the poem, approaching it full of curiosity. There is so much wisdom that they have to share. In the last congregation I served, 2 people who knew they were near the end of their life shared their beliefs and their experiences in a This I Believe service. Dick was struggling with ALS, and Ginny had aggressive cancer in the brain. Both were doing an amazing and beautiful and hard thing of learning and growing each day as their last day quickly approached. Each openly shared their struggles, their learnings, their sorrows, their joys, and that was such a gift to the congregation. When my final days approach, especially if I have some warning that's happening, Dick and Ginny and all the people I've known will accompany me on that journey. I hope right up to that last breath. And all of them are actually a part of me now, reminding me to live and to learn and to grow more fully each day. And so this is the sense that gets conveyed so beautifully by Mary Oliver in her poem. When it's over, I want to say, all my life I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. This is how I want to live my life. I know it's not possible to live this way every minute of every day, but a spiritual life is trying to do it as much and as often as possible. I'm struck as I talk about change in our individual lives, how so much of that applies to collective life, like the life of a congregation. In a congregation, ministers and staff come and go, people die, babies are born, newcomers join, others fall away. Sometimes there are messy conflicts, and sometimes, hopefully not too often, some huge thing like a global pandemic turns everything upside down. One of the vehicles for change in a congregation is conflict. So the church scholar Gil Rendell defines conflict as 2 or more ideas at the same time at the same place. 2 or more ideas at the same time at the same place. What a wonderful definition of conflict. Of course, there's going to be 2 or more ideas present, especially in a congregation of Unitarian Universalists, our creedless faith, pluralistic faith, where if there's 2 of us, there's probably 25 ideas present. The challenge with conflict is to make it transformative rather than destructive. When congregational conflict is transformative, in the words of Teresa Cooley, it provides everyone an opportunity to grow, learn, and come back together changed as a result. I've seen this happen, and it's amazing. Congregations need transformative conflict in order not to stagnate. And wow, does the world need people who get to practice that transformative conflict in places like a congregation. I learned over the years that a relational covenant is really a great tool for helping conflict be transformative. A relational covenant is a statement of how the members of a congregation aspire to interact with each other. Unity Temple adopted a relational covenant 1.5 years ago or so, and when it was adopted, it was understood that the covenant would be periodically revisited, that is, as it should be a living, evolving understanding. And I am really happy to share that Unity Temple's relational health team, formerly known as CHART, has begun a process of revisiting the congregational covenant. And there will be opportunities in the next few months for everybody in the congregation to share ideas and thoughts about the covenant, and this will culminate in a congregational vote on a revised covenant, as soon, perhaps, as the December annual meeting. And as I think about change and growth in a congregation, I think about all the various ways that growth can happen. Spiritual growth, growth in depth, growth in breadth, growth in diversities of all kinds, and relational growth, to name a few. And there is also one that we often think about, which is numerical growth. After holding our own at an aggregate level in the United States for the last several decades, Unitarian Universalism began to decline modestly in the last 10 to 15 years, and the pandemic likely accelerated that. And the place that congregations were hit the hardest in the pandemic is the place that families were hit so hard. Families with young children and children in school. Many congregations saw a free fall of children and youth to the point where there's few or none. And while Unity Temple saw a decline in children and youth too, it has not been nearly as significant. It's sometimes hard to sense this because we're in here and our religious education and youth program is in 3 different buildings, but it may be helpful to know that in the last few weeks there were between 110 and 120 children and youth in our programs. And so that's from nursery through youth group. It's not the same number as before the pandemic, but it is a lot, and it's something that a lot of congregations wish they could have again. Unity Temple is really blessed to be located in a progressive area that continues to attract many people, including young families with children, because of the schools, the quality of life. Laws curtailing individual freedom and rights in other parts of the country have further made this a magnet for folks. Unity Temple is located in a place where growth in a UU congregation is feasible. And this will become ever more true if this congregation is able to keep becoming more inclusive and welcoming for people not from the dominant white culture. If we do things well, which is not to say perfectly, there's a good chance that this congregation will continue to grow. To me, it's apparent that Unity Temple's membership has stabilized numerically after the challenge of these past several years. The decision to add a second service on Sunday is a decision to create more space so that people who are new feel welcomed and like there's space for them. It's important in all this to be clear on why this congregation might embrace growth. Why grow in numbers? If your answer is because we need more members, so consequently we can have more money to keep things going, I'm going to invite you to hear a big buzzer. No, wrong, incorrect answer. Rather, there are 3 reasons, I think, to grow, to embrace numerical growth. The first is that Unity Temple is a transformational, life-giving community, and it is good to find, for people to find this place and to feel welcomed and to join because it changes their life. It allows them to grow and to be better people. I hope everybody who's here can say, being part of this has helped make me a better person. Second reason to grow is that a larger and a stronger Unity Temple can collectively do even more through our faith and action programs to help the world become more just and free and peaceful. I got to see this up close in Appleton, Wisconsin, where I served. Just the difference in impact between a congregation of 700, as there were when I left, and 100 when I came. That impact was amazing, and it helped transform that area. And third, every new Unity Temple member changes the congregation and all of us in it. When Unity Temple grows in numbers, we all have the opportunity through knowing each other to grow spiritually, to grow ethically. all that said, when congregations grow, things change, and that is not always easy. I remember a member in Appleton who struggled when the congregation left its cozy Moose Lodge building. Yeah, it actually was a Moose Lodge, and built this beautiful new building. He just could not get comfortable in the new space, and he came close to quitting. But then he got to know some of the newcomers who came because there was space for them in the new building, unlike the overfull Moose Lodge. He got to know them, and a light bulb went on when he realized that his spiritual journey was enhanced and blessed and deepened by these new people that he got to know. And so he came up to me at one point, a couple years after this move, and he said, when we're ready to add a sanctuary to this new building, we had a multi-purpose worship and fellowship space. He said, when we're ready to add, I'd like to be part of that. And so he ended up being the co-chair of the group that led the way to building a new sanctuary. May all of us here find ways to embrace change and growth and to be transformed by it here and everywhere in our lives. May it be so.
Please rise in body or in spirit, and join me in singing hymn number 34, the great hymn, Though I May Speak with Grace Meyer.
The closing words come from Emily Richards. May you leave this time together changed. May you share the feeling of transformation wherever you go. May it spread in every word, deed, thought, and interaction until we all are changed, transformed, and transforming together, becoming all of us our better selves. And I invite you to join in the chalice extinguishing words. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.